So today we're going to be doing a deep dive into AgentFire and all of the tools it has available. There's a lot of website providers out there, but I'm really excited to talk about AgentFire today because, in my opinion, and hopefully in your opinion soon, AgentFire is one of the best and best in class in website providers for real estate agents. So who better to do that deep dive than Nelson Quest, the CEO of AgentFire and user of AgentFire, Chase Whitney. So thank you both for being on this video today.
Hey, thanks, Lena.
Okay, so Nelson, I'm going to start with you. Starting from the very beginning, how did the concept for AgentFire come about, and what was your sort of initial motivation for it?
Yeah, sure. So I was a real estate agent at one point. I did sell a home successfully. I was with Keller Williams. But anyway, long story short, I realized I love the technology side of things way more than the real estate side of things. I'm actually super introverted, despite the fact that I do YouTube videos and stuff like that. So yeah, I like working behind a computer. I was originally a designer. As I started designing websites for people, I realized the need to sort of combine different technologies. I realized there was a really big need specifically for like hyper-local area content on individual agent websites. And there was a need for individual agent websites. When I had started, it was like kind of when Zillow had started. And there was a need for agents to kind of, for the website to become more than just an IDX search. And so that was kind of the beginning. And then as I moved through the process, I realized like, okay, I can actually create a company and hire people and start building out cool features to kind of move this idea of just like more hyperlocal, more value, more like what can the individual agent website do to differentiate from like just a standard IDX portal experience. And yeah, fast forward 10 years and now we're 50 plus employees. We've had our biggest growth over the last couple of years. Pretty much every year is like a little over 100% year-over-year growth. So like really people are starting to find out about AgentFire over the last 2 or 3 years. And yeah, got a lot of cool stuff on the horizon.
That's awesome. Congratulations. So a couple of times just now you mentioned hyperlocal. For those who may have like a general idea of what that means, but can you share what hyperlocal means and how AgentFire helps agents become hyperlocal?
Yeah, I mean, there's primarily if I were to just kind of summarize the idea behind that in a single sentence or maybe 2 sentences, I would say that it's when someone comes to your website should be a tool that you can use to close deals. It should demonstrate you as the like absolute unequivocal authority of the specific market that you do business in, and yeah, that's like in a single sentence, that's kind of what the website should do. And so all of the features within the website and all of the pages within the website should be like pushing towards that end, if that makes sense. So you should have like obviously lots of social proof on the website. You should have tools that let you actually work with your clients. So and with respect to the IDX, for example, the IDX should really be more about like collaborating with your clients versus giving them a Zillow type experience. You should have pages on there for what you do differently for buyers and sellers, and you should leverage that into all of your conversations with leads. You should leverage the website into your listing presentations. Your website should almost be in and of itself a listing presentation. Yeah, and all of the tools within the website should so we have tools for creating CTAs. A lot of the stuff Chase is going to show you in a second. I hate just talking about stuff, so I'm happy that Chase is here because we'll be able to actually show you guys some like live examples of things. But yeah, let me not talk too much. But basically, the entire website should move towards the goal of establishing you as the authority of the specific market that you do business in.
Okay, cool. So I know that you mentioned you have like a lot of tools available and you're focusing on allowing users and agents to be hyperlocal. Can you share a little bit about your stack approach? I think you mentioned that AgentFire has something called a stack approach. And so can you share what all of that is about?
Yeah, sure. So basically our prerogative is that the traditional all-in-one solution just kind of sucks. There isn't, and I won't like name any specific, but like pretty much that's just kind of the sentiment around the industry is if you go with an all-in-one solution, it's pretty much watered down everywhere. I forget how the expression goes.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, thanks. I think you saved me on a separate webinar where I should probably stop using that as my go-to if I can't even remember it. But so yeah, so Jack of all trades, master of none is kind of the experience you get with a traditional all-in-one. With AgentFire, what we said is like, hey, we can do the website and the features within the website better than anyone else, and then we'll just integrate for everything else. So if you want PPC, we have a number of different PPC experts that we work with. If you want CRM, we integrate with all the top CRMs. We have a whole suite of add-on features that you don't necessarily need in the core website, but if you want to go that extra mile, if you want that extra functionality, that extra firepower, it's there for you. And just so we're going to do the website, the features better than anyone else, and then we're just going to integrate for everything else, and we're going to build out seamless integrations. So it's not like a crappy iframe type. You're getting like a seamless integration, so that this way you can create a solution that really is like best of all worlds.
Yeah, I love that. You're just focusing on what you do best, and that's the website. You're not trying to do everything. So earlier you mentioned that a lot of websites and website providers are pretty watered down. They're all kind of basic, cookie cutter. They all look exactly the same. So I'm curious, how is AgentFire and their websites different, and how are they allowing agents to make their websites beautiful, but then also have functionality in it?
Sure. So I think there's two main things in there, right? There's kind of design, and then there's features. So I'll talk to both of that, both of those things. So on the design front, we have just some of the best designs in the industry. If you go through our portfolio, you'll see that if you stack our stuff up next to anyone else, you'll see that our stuff is as good, if not better, and also like a fraction of the cost, which is a big part of the reason people choose us. Then on the feature side of things, what we've done is we were originally, we're still technically built on WordPress. I don't like to advertise that, because if you sign up with AgentFire, it's not like a WordPress experience where you can just go in and add your own plugins and stuff like that. But what I really want to highlight is that the architecture of WordPress, which is brilliant, which is basically you have your core, and then the individual features that you develop just kind of get plugged into that core. So like most real estate website solutions, what most website solutions in general have like the core is just like one big box. It's not a core with different features that you plug in. And so long story short, this makes it very difficult to develop new features or to update those features without causing problems to the rest of the network. With AgentFire, like we're able to develop stuff. Like we're working on some AI stuff right now. We had an idea for a listing email generator. So basically where agents can go and they can just copy and paste their URL to their listing, and they can generate text for social media, for email promotion, for an open house, and they can do that in like and we had the idea for that. We were able to execute on it in like 4 days. We were able to have it like live and accessible to our client base. So this same thing would take another company like months and months and months. Even our IDX that we just recently developed, we developed a full IDX in like 6 months, which is pretty much unheard of.
Yeah. So you mentioned you've got all these tools and lots of marketing tools available, and I think there's sort of 10 core tools that you have. Which of those, since we don't have time to go through all 10 today, which of those are your favorites?
Like I would say the newest one, I think, which is not even included in those 10, is just all of the AI stuff that we have some really good AI stuff, and also we have a ton of AI stuff coming. So with our IDX, we have natural language search coming, and we have all sorts of functionality coming, just like AI integrations. We're building an AI co-pilot, so you'll be able to just log into your AgentFire website and tell it what you want it to do, and it'll probably just be able to do that thing for you. Like it'll maybe just be able to create a landing page for you. You can literally just give it a couple of sentences and it'll be able to do some really cool stuff. That'll be coming in 2024. But as far as features that we do have that exist right now, I think our most popular feature is definitely neighborhood guides. So these are hyperlocal area pages for all of the cities and neighborhoods and even condo buildings in the specific market that you work in. You can set it up however you want. So it's a two-level hierarchy, if that makes sense. So basically you can set it up so it's cities and the neighborhoods within those cities, or you can set it up so it's counties and then smaller areas within however you want to set it up, but 2 levels. And those pages have not only do they have listings and open houses, but you can connect blog posts. So if you write a post, you want to tag it to specific areas, you can do that. We pull in all sorts of demographic and sales data. They've got market reports, which are always up to date. They've got Yelp integration, so it shows the top local businesses in each of those areas, obviously all the school stuff. So neighborhood guides is probably our client favorite feature. My personal favorite feature is probably engaged CTA. So CTAs, I think, are like the most misused element of real estate websites in the modern day. If you do go to a real estate website and you see a CTA, it's usually for something it's usually corny. So it's usually just not doesn't punch you in the face like it should. And it's also usually not contextual, meaning that maybe you're on a seller type page, but it's a buyer type CTA, or they're not like contextual. So basically what Engage CTA does is it allows you to create CTAs and then target them to the specific pages that are relevant to that CTA. So like on your blog post, for example, you could have a CTA for people to follow you on Facebook or sign up for your newsletter. On buyer related pages, you can have like a perfect home finder type thing, which by the way, we are working on some like insanely cool like AI updates to the traditional like perfect home finder form. Like now it's going to be more of an experience. I can let Chase speak to Engage CTA because he uses it a lot. He's actually, I would say, of all of our users, he's got some of the best examples of Engage CTA. And as far as other features, yeah, I guess maybe our lead pages feature, just because you can create lead pages in a couple of seconds, and these are lead pages that we've tested across our entire client base. We have the benefit of there's a lot of benefit in being able to kind of use that data to create lead pages that are effective.
Yeah,
so yeah, those are my top three. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I love the AI that you're working on. It's going to save, and it is already saving people so much time to quickly create landing pages, blogs. I think you mentioned emails, open house. Just the use cases are endless to help save all of those different marketing marketing pieces a lot faster. Yeah. So Chase, I'm going to bring it over to you before we do a deep dive and you kind of share your screen. Can we go back to the beginning of how did you first come across AgentFire and what initially made you attracted to the platform, and why did you decide to start using AgentFire?
Yeah. So we were with a provider before that kind of fit that box mold, right? Where they did a lot for us and a lot of it was pretty good, but I'm always not attracted to shiny objects, but I'm always looking to improve. And so I made the decision to kind of break it apart and then fragment out my entire tech stack, which I know I've talked with Elena before on another video or two or three, but essentially just organic research. I'm the research king, whether it's for cars or houses or software or a pair of shoes. Like I'll just research until I'm blue in the face, but narrowed it down to AgentFire and a couple others. And yeah, the pieces that really stuck out, like Nelson mentioned, the neighborhood guides and that Engage call to action tool that they've built. Those were two extremely unique aspects that they did that no one else could even touch, right? And it was one of those things where it was even to the point of I didn't know what I didn't have because I didn't know it existed, right? So, I mean, I think when you take the neighborhood guides specifically, when you compare community websites, community pages of certain sites that everyone has or claims to have, I don't think you're going to find them as intuitive, clean, and informative as AgentFire's. And the nice thing, the secret to it, is they take like 5 seconds to set up and then they're done forever. So it's one of those things where it's like a true set it and forget it, which is fantastic. But that's the answer. It's just organic research and demoed a bunch, tried a bunch, talked to a bunch at certain conferences and stuff. But I've been with AgentFire for about a year now and have never once second guessed it.
That's awesome. So when you decided to pull the trigger and sign up for AgentFire, what was that onboarding and setup process like? Did you have to put a lot of hours into it? What was the support team like? How was that transition? Because it can be really cumbersome and really scary for agents to say, I may want to use this website provider, but is it worth my time and energy? Like I'm completely dropping a website I've spent so much time on.
Yep.
So what was that like for you making that transition?
Yeah. Change is always painful, right? I can't sugarcoat that. And there's always going to be struggles and challenges. I think that it was mitigated very well with how it started because you're able to hop on a call on a certain package level. I guess I can let Nelson talk to that, but had an hour and a half discovery call initially with the designer and talked about different sites. Now, my mistake here was my previous site was turned off before I had that call, so I couldn't even show examples of what I had that I liked. So essentially, we started from the ground up, and that was my mistake. But no, you know what? It took several weeks, but in the end, and part of that is because it is so customizable, and I'm a bit more of a tinkerer than I would think most of the normal user base might be. It was great. Once we went live, I jumped in and of course did my own things and But no, great support, very quick to respond. I was the one that took a while to respond back too, so I can't fault anyone of myself for any time longer than it might have been, because it took me a while to respond and do my own research and my own tweaks. But I no complaints. It just, again, change is always going to be, up in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nelson mentioned his favorite features, but can you share sort of what your most valuable features are? And if at this point you want to kind of share your screen and show visuals of what you like. I know Nelson mentioned the custom CTAs as one of his favorites. So if you want to start there.
It's funny when you're on a list of, I'm looking at the site tools on the AgentFire backend, and it's hard because the Engage and Neighborhood Guides come to mind first, obviously, because they're the ones I talk about and or use all the time. But everything here has a very specific purpose. I mean, you didn't mention the listings tool, right? I mean, you're going to get a listing created on IDX or any platform you're going to use, but that's not evergreen content. Once the house sells, it's gone. So we're able to create customized templates for every single one of our listings. The sellers love it. The buyers love it. I mean, there's so much you can do. But let me jump in here, and I'll be looking to the right because that's where my second screen is. But can you see this okay?
Yep.
Good. So let's jump right into the neighborhood guide. So this was what Nelson mentioned, and I do use these a ton. We run ads to these. We share these with our database over and over. Here's an example of a few things going on, because I've got an Engage pop up over here as well that talks about recent market stats and jumps in for call to action for their market report. But let's close that down. So again, these are created in 5-10 seconds, but the very top, you're going to get a POI map that talks about the local hotspots in the area, schools, parks. There's no bus stops or hospitals in Cyprus, but markets, you can click anywhere, get the name, get the contact information and or address, which is a great way to provide value to the consumer. I think this, and Nelson, you can jump in here on how often this is updated. But this does talk about the size of the city, renters versus buyers, age, demographics. It talks about recent sales, prices, up or down. It's a great little snippet. I know it's getting better. Nelson, do you have any insight on that by chance?
Yeah, so we're actually going to be improving this with AI, but right now it uses like a white hat SEO method. So basically, these descriptions will change based on the demographics of the area. So like whatever, we have an algorithm and we make a determination of what we think is kind of the most interesting, and that's what we show in this description. And yeah, the data is I don't know how frequently it is, but it's up to date.
I want to say it was, I heard 2 weeks at some point, and that could be right or wrong, but it's pretty recent because this is obviously all pretty accurate info as well, or very accurate. So
yeah, I mean, we pull it through Home Junction. So I don't know if any of you guys listening are familiar with Home Junction, but they have a really good reputation as far as data goes.
IDX tile, I'm sorry, for recent listings, pulled through AgentFire's IDX natively, which is great. You can turn this on or off if you don't want it, but I don't see why you wouldn't, right? Here is the full call to action for their full market report, which dives further into recent sales, market data, demographics, cost versus national averages, just more in-depth info that you want to have behind a paywall. The nice thing though is you can access these. And Nelson, do you want me to show them what this looks like, by the way?
Yeah, if you can show it quickly, yeah.
So yeah, I will. Schools, again, ratings, information, how to contact. The cool thing down here, and I learned this recently, this is a Yelp integration, which actually compiles the top local restaurants, bars, stores, coffee shops, etc. You can also customize all of this to your liking. I have not. This is pretty much out of the box, which is great. But I learned recently that you can actually bring in your favorite restaurant specifically, and then you can turn this into a compiled list of curated shops and locations based on the agent's liking, right?
Yeah, if I could even jump in, and also, I mean, with these pages, you have a tremendous amount of custom. There's the ability to really customize these pages if you wanted to create. And I could, anyone that wants to email me, Nelson@agentfire.com, I can send you examples of clients that have super custom neighborhood pages. But yeah, you could theoretically change that section to Chase's top picks, and then Chase could go in and actually put in all his favorite. You can make this page super hyper local, right? You can again have your top picks. You can have a description that you wrote with maybe the assistance of AI. You have your blog posts where you can talk about local events, you can talk about even local businesses. There's a lot you can do to really dial in these pages and actually like have them be a tremendous like hyperlocal tool that you use in your day-to-day.
This market report. So what they did was created it a link that you can actually use and then get behind that wall if you want to run traffic directly to it, or maybe it's a client you already have their information for, you don't want to have them force opt in. So just an example of what it looks like. And again, these are automated. Once you create that market and the neighborhood guide, these are all done for you too. So similar intro, right? But now we're going to get more comps, more market stats, etc., right? Demographics, growth, population growth, etc., incomes, costs, more comps, and then a link to view even more, right? And I think it's just a lot more context and a lot more info. But again, the nice thing is these are done. These are totally done for you. I think even when I signed on, they ask you for your first 5 or 10, they'll do them for you. So fantastic, just fantastic.
Awesome. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I wanted you to jump in.
Yeah, earlier before you started going into deep dive of the neighborhood guide, you mentioned you also can create custom listing pages and really fast. Do you have an example of a custom listing page you've created?
You mean like that one?
Yeah.
So here's an example. And now we customize this template. This is not out of the box. We had this done, but that's one of the benefits is now this template is global for all of our listings. So the nice thing with AgentFire is they've built it in a way that you can template this stuff out. So then everything moving forward looks the same. But everything is customizable. Whether I
don't know if you know this, but we actually even our IDX, it's actually like, to my knowledge, the only IDX in the industry. Because again, we're trying to build our IDX in a way where it's like we're not trying to be Zillow. We're trying to be more like how do we make this a tool that our clients can use with the people they're working with. Even the IDX is actually customizable. So I'm not sure if you were aware of that, but we could potentially like even customize the look of that for you. Okay, cool.
I was aware. Yep. So evergreen tool here. So so this is not IDX. This is me manually putting this in. Takes 5 minutes. But now I can share this with the seller, of course. But I've put things that I want people to have, right? So what we love about the house, kind of three talking points I love to share, right? The description, of course. Here is a Calendly integration, which the nice thing here is another engage call to action. That went to the wrong spot, obviously, but this should, if I had my own stuff correct, this would bring a little pop-up for a Calendly integration to talk about a phone call, right? That's my fault. Matterport, mortgage calculator, all this stuff is our native native to AgentFire, right? Not the Matterport tour, obviously, but the mortgage calculator is built in. The nice thing though, on the engage thing. So now we're talking about how can we use this site to provide more context to the client, provide more value. So the example I've always given, it's always hard to tell over the phone or over a phone call. But so what's going on here? So the example I give is when we send this listing out to our email database, so we got 7,000, 8,000 people that are going to get our email with a new listing. Hey, open house Saturday, Sunday, etc. What I do is I'll create a 30-second, maybe it's a minute if I'm talkative, video specifically to the email audience, specifically on this house. So the video is something like, hey, it's Chase with the Whitney team. Thanks so much for clicking on the email you just received to learn more about 9843 Milton Circle in Cypress. You might not know this by seeing it, but this home, XYZ, more context, right? Now, what happens is this video is invisible to the world unless they click on that specific link in the specific email, because this engage call to action is only going to pull up when I have this code at the end of the URL. So now the video's over in the corner. You probably can't hear it, but the video's over in the corner, pulls right up, and even says, thanks for checking out Milton Circle from the email you just received. It's just super, super targeted. That's just one example. We started doing this. We had several messages, texts, and emails back just saying, that was great listening X, Y, and Z. How did you know that we clicked on your email? And well, we have tools that do that, but that's my favorite because it's so unique and so, I don't know, I guess creative, I guess you could say. A couple other ones. I mean, we have one here, better example, that I created for our Calendly integration. So if I just send any link to anybody with this specific code at the end, up pops in my calendar integration, right? I've got one that can lock the entire page down. So if you want to use it for social or PPC traffic, right? Same page. This is the same listing, but now I can send a certain link to certain people, and I know what these codes are because I created them, right? Or had AgentFire do it. But now, again, you can't visit this page unless you register. So, I mean, the nice thing is there are a million ways to use this. I've just found a few that I like. I mean, one I like quite a bit too that I've not, to be honest, haven't used yet. But, and this is getting a little more granular, but if you go into analytics and you can see you're getting 2,000 unique views a month on your site, and then you can use an AgentFire Engage CTA globally across your entire website with a banner for a new listing. And then you go to the seller and say, hey, Mr. Seller, right, we're getting 2,000 views on our site every single month. What we do for the first 7 days of any new listing that we take is we have your home featured on every single page of our website for the first 7 days to those 2,000 people. How would you feel about that? Great, sign here. So there are so many ways to use this. And this is one of the things that no other platform has, period, end of story. And I mean, we didn't talk about the newsletter subscription, the Facebook integration for it, the pop-ups, the banners. There's 1,000 ways to do it. And I mean, truthfully, the sky is the limit on that because of how customizable they are. And you can use their templates to start. You can build them from scratch. You can have them build them with the Spark Care add-on, which is another great add-on that no one's talked about yet. But I mean, again, I'm just I get so excited because it's a lot of fun stuff for me.
Yeah, I have a few follow-up questions from what you shared, if that's okay. I was an unrelated question whenever you showed the pop-up for the Calendly in the bottom right-hand corner. What made you decide to make it 9 minutes?
Oh, that's a very good question.
That's a good question. Yeah.
I think it was because it was a cycle. I forget where I saw this, and I think the actual study or wherever I saw, I think it was 7 minutes, but I thought, I don't know, to change it because I like to tweak things. It sounds manageable, right? Book a call with us sounds daunting. Book a 20-minute phone consultation sounds not sexy. I think 7 minutes, 9 minutes, I think it sounds, oh, that's not too bad. And then psychologically speaking, 9's always better than 10, right? For the same reason that when we list a house, we always do 799,000 because map views of IDX platforms always round up. So 799,000 rounds down to 799, whereas 7999 rounds up to 8. Psychologically, the 9 is a lot more affordable. So same reason.
Yeah.
When you're on a call and you get to 9 minutes, do you just immediately hang up?
Yep. Sorry, see ya.
That's what I would do.
book another one. But yeah, no, that was just a thing I did, I don't know, a few months ago, and I liked the concept of it, so I stuck with it.
Yeah. With the forced registration you showed where it was just full screen, where you had to sign in with Facebook or Google or manually sign in, can you change what that CTA says? Because I think by default it said, okay.
So you know what, and I'm going to show you because I think this is a lot of the value of calls like this. But if I bear with me, I'm going to find it. So if I
Chase is bringing that up, I'll just mention too, our team is really helpful. So, you know, when you book a demo with AgentFire, you're going to communicate the stuff that's kind of important to you. You're going to share stuff that you've seen on other people's websites. Like pretty much all of our demos is you know, 50% of it is just people sharing like stuff that they saw on other people's websites and they want, and we'll show you how to do that with AgentFire. Again, we have really talented designers. We have really good support. You know, we'll help you get it set up. We try to, you know, our general rule is like, we'll never ask you to do what we can do for you. Yeah, so I think Chase has this up.
Yep. So here's the back end of that call to action, right? So on the very, very top level, every single thing in here is completely customizable down to the background behind it. What do you want to be up on top, right? What do I want it to say? Do I want to change the colors? How big do you want it to be? What's the headline going to say? What's the body going to say, right? If you don't want this redirect that says, no, leave me think back to the homepage and they can't access it, that's what I have here. You can also turn this off and then let them close the box and still get the content without registering it. So you have a ton of options here. And then on what the form looks like, you can change everything around this form for what you want it to be. You can change the questions they have to answer. You can change if you want or don't want, where is it here? Yeah, do you want Facebook as an option to sign in or not? I mean, everything on here is customizable. So, and that's one of the great things. Then here, Nelson talked about earlier, if you want to have this constantly on a certain page, you can target certain pages. So if I want a specific blog post, this is too valuable to give away for free, or whatever, I can specifically put this onto one page only, right? Now I have mine, it's on the back end, I just add this code to it, but here's how you would target it to certain pages or guides. Here is how you can, when do you want it to show up? Do you want a 3-second delay? Do you want it instantly? Do you want it on exit intent? Do you want it once they scroll half the page? You have so much control over this stuff that it really is extraordinarily powerful. So good job, Nelson. Good job.
This next question might be best for Nelson. I'm throwing a curveball, but how are you ensuring that AgentFire and the landing pages are compliant? That's a big buzzword today, of making sure that you're showing transparency and the consumer knows what they're opting in for.
And I know that we've worked on that. That would be a question though for someone else. That would be for Luke, who's our chief product officer. Yeah, I'm out of the loop there, but I have seen conversations on it. I know
all of the lead forms that I've seen have an option to change or update the disclaimer. If you want it to show number one, so you're in control here as the agent or as the user, but you can also change the verbiage. From what I've seen, again, Luke's the guy to talk to, like Nelson said, but I have seen that they do allow you to get in there and update it if you want to be more compliant or less for whatever reason, but you do have the options.
Okay, cool. So, okay, we talked a lot about custom pages, listing pages, but I guess for what you're talking about, a lot of this, you've been talking about benefits to your sellers, prospective sellers, but how have you seen this benefit you and your team in terms of like prospects engaging? Are people filling out those forms? Are people clicking on the button to register? Yep. Are they interacting with those CTAs?
Oh yeah, no, we track all of it, right? With our CRM, we're able to track every page they visit through the pixel. We're able to see all the leads that come in, get pushed to our CRM automatically. I mean, one of the questions we had talked about before this call was what pages do we use the most, that kind of thing. I mean, we're big farmers. We're very large geographically that way. So, I mean, one of our biggest ones is our event page. And this URL has never changed. We update this every event that we do. I mean, this probably gets the most traffic of any page on our site because we push so much traffic to it through email, mail, social media, everything. But I mean, there's cases for all of it. I mean, you talked earlier about just value, and that new AI just was testing out their AI blog tool. I created a 2,000 word specific to Southern California article about winterizing your home in our not so harsh climate. It took me like 20 minutes, and it was much more topically relevant than ChatGPT would be manually or just directly, because it's so tailored towards real estate and towards what we want it to come out with. So yeah, hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and what you just said reminds me, a couple weeks ago after FubCon, there was one AI tool mentioned where it's kind of you put in your prompt and we'll create a Twitter post, a YouTube description, a Facebook post, but it wasn't really geared towards real estate. So it's really cool to see that you've built this within the platform so that it is more geared towards real estate agents, because it didn't have the context. So it didn't really do a good job of creating that. So that's props to you for making that for real estate.
I just realized I didn't have my page or screen shared. So here's our event page. But yeah, we customize this with the form on the top, and then of course we want our testimonials to show up so they can see them as a slider, and that's an AgentFire tool as well. So yeah, that's again that page gets a ton of traffic. But the nice thing is because you can build your form anywhere. You can do Google Forms directly, but I want them in my ecosystem, right? I want them within our own platform as much as I can possibly keep them. So that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation of why you should use their form builder, because it's native to the website. It looks nice. It goes along with the branding versus doing some other random form builder like Google Forms or JotForms or Typeform, which are great tools, but you can integrate it with your website. And
you know what's so funny too? You just mentioned how is the website working and with clients and such. We just had someone, a kid, not making this up. He has a family house to sell, lives on the street of my parents, same street, the 7 houses down, never met the guy. We've been farming the neighborhood for 15 years, right? Twice a month, right? Plus mail. He gets our we have a bi-monthly magazine that we pass out that we've created cover to cover. And so he gets the magazine, this would be 3 months ago now, calls and say, need to talk about selling our house. Didn't know you were in real estate. First of all, 7 doors down. Anyways, he says, yeah, got your magazine, very impressive. And then, yeah, in the magazine, you talked about your new website, which we talked about for 2 issues back to back. Went to the website, very impressive, very, very impressive. And so it's just, you don't often get that feedback directly from clients, but that worked. So it was like double whammy. But yeah.
Our top clients, that's exactly how they use the website. Is they build an impressive website, and not just that it looks beautiful, but that it's very focused. So not like 100 different pages, but just the pages that are most important. And then they're just leveraging that as like a massive social proof. Like we have like our biggest case study that we ever did. This guy Jeff Bray's in Sarasota, Florida, which is like actually the most competitive real estate market from an online perspective. Like Sarasota has the highest CPC. Cost per click in the entire US. At least it did a couple of years ago. I think it still does. But anyway, long story short, brand new agent, and he was just getting leads from Zillow and like leveraging his website into the conversation. And I just got a ton of closings that way. He got one, it was a $2.5 million land deal from a Chinese buyer. And the buyer basically just like went to his website, was super impressed, and it's got the deal.
That's fantastic.
That's so cool. Last question for you. I think it's best to ask this to Nelson. Who is the ideal person to use AgentFire? Is it only solo agent? Is it small team, mid team, brokerage?
Now it's teams. And this gets me super excited. I think Chase is aware of this, but we basically have built like the team killer. Actually, that's probably not a good name to use. The subdomain killer. So like traditionally, with a team solution or with a brokerage solution, like if you're a team leader, you kind of want subdomain sites for your agents. And I promise after you hear what AgentFire has been working on, like you won't want subdomain sites. Because everyone knows, like everyone wants them to be able to check off a box and be able to say, hey, come over to my team, come over to my brokerage, and you get these subdomain sites. But everyone also knows they're just these like crappy watered down sites. Nobody uses them. So like we've actually built out a system. We got to give it a cool, sexy name, but for now we'll just call it our attribution system, where basically rather than having subdomain sites, like each of your agents now has a tremendous amount of motivation to just use your primary main team site. So you can actually invest in like a beautiful team site. You can invest in resources in that team site. And then each agent gets like what Chase was showing earlier with the those links at the end of the URL. So, you could have like the teamwebsite.com hashtag Chase. And that basically goes to like Chase's version of the website, where if someone registers, so Chase can actually send someone to go like register on the website. And then when they're like liking properties and creating saved searches, Chase is seeing all that. He can create his own saved searches, and like not on a crappy subdomain site, like on just the main team website. So now like as a team leader, you can go and you can say, hey, like you have all your team members like using the website, they're having conversations about the website. Maybe you want to invest in creating like a really cool relocation guide or resources. And then now all of your agents can share those resources, and they can just add the hashtag, /Chase to basically like get the credit, get the attribution for all of that. They have incentive now to like run their own PPC campaigns if they want to, and they would just use their, attribution link on all of the links that they run PPC for. So like, if you're a team, again, this is what they always do, is they'll get like a beautiful team website, and then like nobody's using it because you have all these crappy subdomain websites, which also nobody is using. So now it's like, with AgentFire, we'll set up like an amazing team website, and you have all the incentive in the world to like invest in that team, in that website, and put cool resources on that website. And then every agent on your team has like tremendous incentive to use that website as well. So but that's like, so that's coming out. Right now it's in I know that like Luke, our CPO, who I mentioned earlier, he's like reviewing it right now. So it should be ready by the end of this week even. And by the time like people even see this video, it'll definitely be live.
I can tell you're only a little bit excited about that, Nelson. Just a little.
It's like, it's really cool because it's like to be honest, it wasn't my idea. It was Luke's idea entirely. And I'm a little like jealous because of that, because really it's like, my idea was to just do like subdomains better than everyone else. And then Luke had the idea like, screw subdomains, like nobody uses them, they suck, like it's a common pain point, and then we can do this attribution. So subdomains are also really expensive. Like this agent attribution model, we're going to charge $5 per user, which is like a tiny fraction of what you would pay for subdomains for even a small team. It ends up being expensive. So it's way cheaper, way better. And now just like you have just one website where you have all the incentive in the world to make it just super hyper local.
Yeah, it's more scalable. I hadn't even considered that, and I've always wondered, why do subdomains exist? So I'm glad that you're approaching
They
it.
should. Yeah, that's our. I think we're like our tagline is going to be subdomains should die, or something with like subdomains and die.
There you go. Smart.
Yeah.
What about location? Like, is AgentFire available in all 50 states? Is it available in Canada, in other countries?
Yeah. We actually do a ton of business. Canada is actually a big part of the reason we've like grown. Like for some reason, like Canadians like love us. But yeah, we're available in all 50 states. I think we're available in pretty much every MLS. There's like one or two that we're not available in, but that's something that any agent could verify very quickly.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you both being on this video. In the description is a link to AgentFire to learn more, and it's one of their custom landing pages. So check it out. They practice what they preach. So thank you both for your time today.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lena.